Welcome back to Retirement News Online. Well, it's been 8 years since the Great Recession of 2008. That's been called the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. But many people are worried that another one could be right around the corner. My guest is Brian Gray with APO Financial in Colorado. Brian, how have capital markets changed since 2008 and what have we learned?
Boy, what have we learned since 2008, right? We've actually learned quite a bit. The Federal Reserve has had a pretty big hand in what's going on since the recovery since 2009. So we've had a little over a 200% increase since 2009 to where we are today. The reality of it is that because what the Federal Reserve is doing by keeping interest rates low, it's forcing people to be more into risk. And people are putting more into stocks, more into bonds, but the reality is that both have different sets of risk that you have to watch out for. And when you look at 2008, bonds went down, stocks went down, currencies went down, gold, silver went down. There wasn't many things that actually made money in 2008, so you have to be a little bit more defensive coming into this next time around.
Well, back in 2008, many people found themselves unprepared for that financial crisis. How can we protect ourselves if that happens again?
Yeah, and that's something that we focus on as a firm is to be a little bit more defensive. And when we talk about general advice to the public, is you have to take money off the table. What you see is when you get in towards retirement planning, is you're near retire or just retired, too many people are still invested like they were when they were 40. The reality is when you're 60, 65, 70, you don't have a lot of time to make it up. What people don't realize is that when you go backwards 30, 40, 50%, the reality is it takes about 6, 7 years to get back to even. And in our world, we like to minimize those losses. So moving to cash, getting a little more defensive, we like to use some insurance products that can help guarantee without losses, but also create income. But the reality is you can take risk off the table, create some income with part of your assets, and you don't have to rely on all of your assets to create income.
Well, Brian, finally, how should personal debt be evaluated now?
It's crazy because the last financial crisis was driven by mortgage debt. And today we're at record student loans. We've got a lot of record personal debt, but there's a financial answer and there's an emotional answer. A lot of people financially, it makes sense to actually keep paying payments if you have a low interest rate on your debt. But with most consumer debt, you're paying a higher interest rate than you can possibly get returns in your investments. So what we like to focus on, if it's keeping you up at night, then it makes sense to actually pay that off. Go into retirement with as little debt as possible so that way you can focus on really enjoying your lifestyle.
All right, Brian, thanks for sharing your time and expertise with us today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Scott.
My guest has been Brian Gray with APO Financial in Colorado, and this is Retirement News Online.